Hey, Matt. How are you?
Nicholas, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday the 13th.
Oh my God.
Nicholas, did you know today is the only Friday the 13th of 2025?
Oh,
It's the
oh.
only one. So, my question, obviously, to you is are you superstitious?
I'm not the kind of superstitious guy. Although I have to say, I have a couple people going live today, so I hope everything is going to be fine and there won't be any, um, you know, Friday the 13th surprise. To be
But
honest with you,
wait a minute. If you're worried about something because it's the 13th, that means you are superstitious.
I don't know, but when it comes to business, it's always better to, be safe than
Err on
sorry.
the side of caution. Oh yeah, I've got my own little things too when I launch a new product and everything. And I will tell you
So
one thing: my wife taught me when you come into a house or when people come over, they have to leave through the same door they came in from. So you enter from one door, you have to leave from the same door.
okay.
So that's a little thing that I throw people off. Like they want to walk out, come in the front, like walk out the back 3 hours later. I'm like, no, no, no. You got to go through the front door. That's it. If that's superstitious, which I don't know if that is, that's the only superstition I abide
I
by.
see. I see.
I follow.
All right. Well, why don't we get started?
All right.
All right, everybody. This is Nico with eStreamly, the company that gets you live stream on your website, social media, email, SMS, and shop roll videos. Super excited to be here with my great friend Matt from E6 Marketing, the company that gets you on QVC and HSN. We are here every Friday on LinkedIn, as well as on YouTube, Facebook, and many other places like the Live E-commerce podcast. Matt, you can't believe that it's episode 174 of the live e-commerce podcast, the VCommerce show. It's not as many, but we are certainly in close to our 50th. So super excited to have you. Before we go there, Matt, why don't you tell us what the show is about?
Yes, Nicholas. Well, congratulations. 175 podcasts. That's a lot of podcasts. That's a lot of work. So congratulations on that. Our little show is a little part of what your podcast experience is like. But thank you very much. If you're watching or you're listening on your walk, daily walk, or activities around the house, this is called the VCommerce podcast. Video commerce. It's the video aspect, video dynamic of selling product. Started with direct response television, graduated into QVC and HSN and other live shopping TV channels, and now it's on the internet, anywhere, everywhere you look, through TikTok Shop, through Instagram, Facebook, your own websites. We talk about the top 3 or 4 big stories of the week here with Nicholas and I. This is what we do, live and breathe, is live shopping. So, Nicholas, I wanted to jump in. I mentioned TikTok Shop. I had a great conversation this week with a TikTok Shop agency,
Oh,
and we
nice.
talk every week how TikTok Shop or TikTok is in the news every week because
Mhm.
it's such an evolving, changing dynamic of video commerce. And these guys, this agency really educated me on all the inner workings of managing brands and helping brands be successful.
So what was the learning? I honestly we effectively talk about TikTok so many times. Most of the time, and most of the people I know go by themselves and do everything themselves. I never really I did have with agency, but more from a practical perspective, what they're doing, how they're doing things, what's exciting, what's not exciting. Never had the insight from a business standpoint. So what are the learnings from that?
Yeah, these guys, it's a young company, and these guys were great. They're on the cutting edge. They were in California a couple of weeks ago at the TikTok Shop facility in, I think it's in Los Angeles. And they were just giving me the, kind of TikTok 101 of what's going on today. So the general thought of my conversation with them is you have to invest dollars. You have to invest into the opportunity. It's a lot about algorithms and a lot about influencers, as you would expect. Also about generating your own content. It's about hours of lives. Lives is the biggest thing. I think they quoted me. They quoted me a certain number, like 240 hours of live a month to get started. 240 hours of live content on TikTok Shop per month, which is basically 8 hours a day, 30 days in a month. Like that's a lot of lives. And that's across many people,
started,
right? Many influencers, many different people talking about your brand, but that's still a lot of lives. And they're all about live. They're about, which I was a little surprised about, they're about the aesthetics, using studios when they can, professional studios to give the end user a good experience watching the product, educating those influencers about the product itself, and not spraying, hundreds of influencers with product, hoping that you'll get content from them. They really focus on the top 5% in each category, so they really narrow it down to essentially get the biggest bang for the buck for the brand. So they're obviously, this is what they do. They're very high on TikTok Shop. They're very high on the whole platform, the live selling, the storytelling, everything we talk about each week. But I got an inside perspective, and it was eye-opening to me. It was very interesting.
So it sounds to me that there's two things, right? Because you're talking about storytelling, and you've been saying that you felt that the stream is not so much about storytelling. So now, having talked to an agency, does it change your perspective on how things are playing out, or do you what's your takeaway from that perspective?
In my world, I work through traditional home shopping, QVC and HSN, and we talk about there's different goals per day, daytime versus prime time, like people more at home after dinner, weekday versus weekend. More people are shopping on the weekends compared to the weekday. On TikTok Shop, they talk about algorithms, and they talk about like TikTok Shop pumping out your content based on the algorithm. So it's the same thing. It's the same kind of a thing. If you have a great algorithm and you get in front of more potential customers, you're going to have more possibilities of sales. In my world, if you're on prime time versus daytime versus early morning, the sales are greater in prime time, obviously, than early morning. So it's very, very similar, but I lean back on, you're sprinkling content. 240 hours a month is a lot of hours of content. Does everyone know about your brand? Does everyone really have an invested interest in your brand? Are they speaking your language? Are they talking about your brand positioning? Are they talking about your brand the way you want them to talk about your brand? So we get into that.
A lot of training to get those creators on brand and in the conversation, and it feels that if you jump in and you do 240 hours on day one, it's a lot of effort to get everyone working in a world, right? I mean, like for a larger organization, that might be a little scary if they need to get their legal involved and all those different things. I'm curious, when they look at kind of starter package, do they say you have to do 240, or are they starting with something a little lower? And do you have some numbers on dollar?
No, well, this is the recommend. Yeah, they threw out dollars to me, and I don't think I want to quote them, but like they're very confident it's going to work. So it's an initial investment, which is a decent investment. Roughly $50,000 initially, which covers the first few months of the content, and the money's not going to this agency. It's sprinkling across influencers across the globe, and all studio space and all that kind of thing.
That gets you like 100 hours or more of content. What does that get you in terms of live streaming standpoint?
Yeah, 100. I wrote down 100 hours for 3 months of content.
Okay, so
this is your initial. This is the initial investment.
That's 100 hours per month, or is it like 100 hours sprinkled over 3 months as a kind of
across 3 months?
Okay, so basically, if you want to get on TikTok, the recommendation from an agency is to say about 35 hours a month of work of streaming, right? Sounds like it's about, and then they are quoting 50K more or less in terms of cost, which give you down to $500 with production content, people doing it for you and everything. And I'm assuming you have to produce kind of like the samples, all that to the creators, maybe some of the discount and everything. So that is a little bit more than that, but like the whole content creation part and execution is about $500 a show, which is, frankly, not that expensive when you think about all the different touch points and different things that needs to be involved to make it happen. Obviously, with TikTok, I'm assuming the creator gets a commission on the sales as well. So that's probably where they are making most of the revenue, right?
Yeah, and you know what? I pulled out of this hour-long conversation. You can't jump into TikTok without having your brand. You got to have some. Your
Yeah.
brand has to be set up. Your brand has to be
I mean, like
successful. Your brand has to be established.
50K, if it's like 50K is not everyone that has 50K under the mattress, to get started somewhere, right? So,
Right.
yeah.
And
Well,
that's just the initial investment, because as you
we,
grow and get bigger and bigger and bigger, you're going to
right.
get more hours of live content. You're going to get more expensive influencers, I guess, which have bigger followings, all that kind of thing. This is the initial investment.
Now, we know the route of folks that are doing it themselves, like the DIY. I do my live, I do my studio, I do all that stuff. What's interesting in this story is like an agency will tell you, hey, it's a minimum of 35 hours if you want to get somewhere for 3 months, right? I think that's for me is the interesting part, with the goal to get to 240, which is an 8 hours a day. Like this is where the machine really start to mint. I remember like I had met someone on live stream saying like you mint money from TV. It sounds like if you want to mint money from TikTok, that's an 8 hours a day kind of conversation you need to have at some point.
Yeah, it's an investment, and I've seen some bad content across many different brands that I personally know from people that I know don't know the brands. So I know founder brands that use influencers, and sometimes that influencer content is not very appealing and not very good. So again, like to establish, if you want to get into video commerce, on this show we always recommend starting with your own website, creating the content yourself, user generated content, build it out, build up to that platform through social media, Instagram, Facebook, all those kind of applications or apps, and then get into the TikTok shop world. It's blowing up. Obviously, it's only a year and a half old in the US, so it's only going north. But I think every retailer or every brand should be considering it and learning as much as they can about it.
Well, speaking of live streaming, did you see, Matt, that there is eBay? We don't really talk much about eBay, and we haven't talked much about eBay over the years. But eBay is launching an eBay Live tour that kicks off on July 14. And you know that live streaming on eBay started in 2022, so almost 3 years ago. And I can't believe we haven't talked much about it. So they will be touring. So obviously on eBay, you sell mostly collectibles, discover stuff, like second-hand product and things like that. And they're starting with Copper City in Florida. They're going to be going to California, in different places in California, Los Angeles, San Diego. They're going to go to Oklahoma. Interesting. And then they are doing New Jersey, and then some stuff in New York, and then finalize in Nevada in November. So through that experience, basically, eBay is setting up an operation where sellers can come in and then do their stream the whole day long. So it's kind of like a way to highlight the streamers, highlight the people that are involved in this whole thing. And so I was curious, and then I end up like going to the eBay Live, and then I realized like, wow, there's a lot of activity on eBay Live, Matt. I don't know, like, I mean, honestly, I used to go to eBay when I was like more like a student or out of college and stuff, but I haven't been there in a very long time. So this is not a place where I primary shop. My daughter go there, but not so much me. But like, look, this is the stream that's going on right now. So you got a bullion coin, you've got some cards, here you've got some handbag stuff. This is you can sell here. It says anthropology, revolve, like old clothing, boxing. So this is probably a restocking type merchant. You've got Excalibur. So what is this? Like, some perfume and things like that, or like game stuff. So anyway, interesting. I found the room to be, I don't know if I will say like I trust really the size of those rooms. Like, look, like 657, 206, 227. I mean, we're Friday, 11:20 a.m. Eastern. That's a lot of people. It sounds to me for for that. Like, I mean, like you go to fanatics.live, which, it's, it's pretty big in this area, they will show you like maybe 30 to 40 people in the room, which I trust more. But hey, maybe those numbers are right. So why not? Well, and if you go in the room, the experience is pretty cool actually. The other reason I don't trust much this room is like you don't see a lot of comments, where on the other places, like comments are like just pure fire, right? So I don't know if the dynamic of eBay makes it for a less community driven type of environment. But hey, I found it quite interesting. You've got the seller review on the site, which I think is pretty cool because you can know, like, is it a trustworthy seller, whatever. What are they selling here? We are seeing the product on the side. It is, it's all bidding thing. So it's really about bidding, and then it sounds like you do all that on the app for the most part. Super interesting. I don't know what's your thought are, Matt,
Well,
on this thing.
like eBay, they kind of, I won't say invented user generated content, but they, selling products on eBay without video has been going on for a long time. So now it makes complete sense. This eBay Live on tour kicks off tomorrow. So It's very newsworthy, very timely for us to talk about this. It seems like it's a mix of user generated content and branded content, which is just like the brands that we talked about last week, Whatnot and Palm Street. Whatnot does a lot of different category products, and Palm Street's basically a garden, app that you sell product on. So it just gives you, it's just another reason, it's just another way of showing how impactful video content, video commerce has become, and eBay being part of this makes complete sense to me.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is so it's an auction style. First of all, what I found interesting is, like, have you seen the length of the auction? Is like, we're talking about 5 to 10 seconds. So it's super short. I mean, at least I don't know if that's a setup of eBay, but I have to dig into that. But it's super short auction. And then, you've got a max bid. And then, it sounds to me that it's all about the velocity of the product, and then getting that to the closing very, very quickly. I don't know. It's fascinating. And then you have a starting price. So maybe there's a little bit less price discovery, because eBay is all about price discovery initially, right? You put it at $0, and then it's over 2 weeks. And so people will bid in out, and then you've got this discovery to the final price. Here, we're talking about something that, hey, you come in, you've got 10 seconds to look at it, decide, boom, move on, and purchase. Just a fascinating kind of interesting, I don't know, just fascinating environment and way of doing it.
Yeah. So what's the lesson? That you need to be everywhere, right?
I mean, do you really need to be everywhere? I mean, like, you need to be there if you are in the collectible space, I guess, or if you are doing like the one-of-a-kind type product, or if you are a second-hand styling kind of product. There's probably some opportunity for you. Now, if you're like a beauty brand, do you need to be on eBay? I don't think so. I mean, like, is that where you're going to purchase your beauty product? I don't think so. I think it's more like, I think at the end of the day, it all comes down that, where is the product? Where is your vertical? Like, what do you do? I mean, like, I think for me, so, and if you go in the back story of this, think about Whatnot really started to kick off very strongly, because the founder had a relationship with someone at eBay that gave him access to a product API where they could actually push the settings. So when someone was creating a listing on Whatnot, that listing was also automatically going to eBay. So very much same type of demographic. And because of that, it was a low friction for the people to post something on Whatnot, because at the end, it will go to eBay anyway. So what ended up happening is that's how they started. And I think what eBay Live is just their way to make sure that they don't get eaten alive by Whatnot, because Whatnot has been this BMF growing like crazy. And I think that's what's happening here.
No, it's a counter. You're saying it's a counter decision for eBay to jump into live streaming.
Yeah, I mean, it's been they've been doing that for 3 years now, so they probably have some good data and stuff. But yeah, I just find it super super cool. Well, the other story I wanted to bring it up before we end the show, Matt. You were talking about ad and on Reddit. So why don't we jumping into that very quickly?
Yeah. News that I read this morning. Reddit has over 100 million daily users. So this website has been established for a long time, and they just got into DPA, dynamic product ads, which is a lot like what Google and Facebook are doing. Google and Amazon are doing. A beta in 24 proved successful, and in 25 they've already doubled their return from 24. This DPA creates personalized ads for each user. So it pulls products from a company's catalog based on the interest and the conversations the user has through Reddit. So the first thing I thought of, like Big Brother, this is a lot of, it goes back to like the whole Big Brother thing. Everyone's watching what you're doing, but this is truly how web-based advertising works. Whatever you're interested in, you're going to get advertising from that type of product. So now Reddit is involved with it. So I'm sure the play is building ad revenue through this new technology.
Yeah, I mean, if we remember when Reddit went public, everyone was complaining that they are probably the social media that less monetize their user base. And I think if you look at their stock market and everything they've been doing since they went public is really working on monetization of those assets, those users. And I think that's just another path toward that. Speaking of ad, I just wanted to share with you something that Laura spotted on the newsletter, which is Meta, which has been a big player in the ad space, obviously. But one of the things that they have done is they are removing the native checkout on Meta. So once upon a time, I would say you used to be you could, as a merchant, decide to create a listing on Meta and then use the Meta checkout, so where people can actually purchase directly on Meta to actually get to the purchase. What's happening is that starting August, Meta is actually deprecating this feature, redirecting the user to the checkout of the merchant itself, which is, I think it's an interesting move considering what TikTok is actually all about, bringing the checkout experience on the video, on the platform, on those listings that they have, where Meta is actually trying to say, hey, maybe we want to differentiate ourselves, and then removing that. This has been the Meta checkout has been a relatively unpopular feature anyway from a lot of I would say established merchants that don't want to have it run by Meta itself, because they just don't want to give them that data. How do you manage customer relationship afterward? Like if they are the merchant, like how do you do return? How do you do all those stuff? So I think it's an interesting move. That's a thesis that we had at Extremely for a while, where how do we leverage the payment infrastructure of the merchant directly on the video? That's something we've been playing with since the beginning. But it's interesting to see that, and to see the dichotomy between what TikTok and what Meta is going after, and trying to differentiate themselves around that. Matt, any thoughts before we end on that?
Well, Nicolas, in that thought, like I've heard and I've seen that a lot of these websites are more about product discovery than the actual sales. So many people go to these apps for product discovery, and then look at Amazon or look at some other website looking for the same product, and if the price is better somewhere else.
Well, I mean, you can make a counter argument that yes, you still have a lot of discovery on TikTok, but there's also a lot of sale, right? I mean, like they did 18 billion last year. That's a pretty substantial number, right? So,
I think they feed into one another. I think that's my thing. I mean, again, you want to own it. You want to have it on your own website. You want if Meta is going to push them back to you, that's a healthy thing for all the retailers. So that's a good thing. Just I'm always curious as all this technology keeps getting greater and greater. Where is the end user shopping? Where's the final destination?
Well, and you know that with chatbot and AI, the line is blurrier every day. But anyway, great show, Matt. As usual, love to have you. Love to have a chat with you and talk about all those topics around social commerce, video commerce, and live shopping. There's always something new and exciting in this space. Like if you look at anything that the creators out there are talking about, all those platforms that are popping up and growing, it's amazing. We are here every Friday on LinkedIn. We can also watch and look at the replay on YouTube, as well as the video is also on Spotify. I'd love to hear your comment. If you like the show, please comment, please like, and tell us, help us make this show discovered. That would be amazing. Share with your friend. Thank you, Matt, for being here. And I guess I'll see you again the next Friday, right?
Nicolas, see you next week.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.